Pacers fight hard, double overtime. They're losing bodies. They're getting hurt. They almost take down the Thunder, but almost doesn't count. They come up just short. We're going to overreact as we do every year to the first game of the season right here on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Congrats, you made it through the weekend. Welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and Circle City Spin. I started my own blog. I encourage you to sign up. I hope you love it. I'll talk more about that in the future because today we're talking about the Thunder. Pacers Thunder, the season opener for the Pacers. They just ran out of people. They were fighting with a ragtag, no point guard group, and they were scoring a lot, and they looked like they could get it done. They had enough to do it, and they lost Aaron Nesmith to fouls. They lost Andrew Nembhard to injuries. They lost Ben Shepard to fouls, and once they lost Ben Matherin, they just didn't have enough left. And as we do, Adam Friedman and I, Adam back after a year off from this experience, overreacting to game one. As I'll admit when we start talking, I'm also just not good at overreactions in general. This was the hardest one of these ever. It's so hard to overreact to a game like this where a lot looks good and a lot looks bad and a lot gets hurt. It's just like, it's so polar that you can't really overreact to one thing. But Ben Matherin and Siakam were awesome. We talk about that. We talk about the point guards, the centers, and so much more from this game. A tough one for the Pacers. Let's overreact with Adam Friedman. Game one for the Pacers in the books. Double overtime, 6-point loss to the Thunder in the finals rematch. Painful loss. Every little thing mattered. A technical foul here. Big play there. The Pacers fought valiantly. They kept losing guy after guy. They ran out of guys. That is, to me, how they lost the game, among many things. And joining me for an annual tradition that took a one-year hiatus due to, fittingly, because of the game we're talking about, health reasons, he's back. It's Adam Friedman here to help me overreact to one game of the Pacers season. Adam, hello. Which of the 91 free throws in this game was your favorite?
I have an overreaction to a free throw one. If you want to just start off the bat, we want to just go right into it.
You have to pick a favorite free throw. There were so many.
I think one of the 7 Siakam missed. He missed 7. He was like, what, 4 of 11 from free throw line, right?
He was 4 of 10 at one point, and he had all 6 of the Pacers misses.
He was 5 of 12. I was one off. He made an extra one. Must have been late in the game. There was a sequence there where I think he missed, 3 or 4 straight free throws. Like he got in one, missed it, and then he had 2 free throws he missed. And I'm just like looking at it like, what's going on? Like I know he had struggles last year in the playoffs, but like what is he so nervous about at the beginning of the season? Like I get playoff nerves, right? That happens. But like the first game, like you should make 9 or 12 of his free throws every game.
It was painful, and it was funny. He was playing so well. Like, he was spectacular in this game, and I tweeted about that, and then I tweeted about his free throws, and somebody said, when I wanted the old Pascal back, this is not what I meant. That certainly made me laugh, given how many other things that he did terrifically well in this game. As is tradition, Adam and I like to overreact to the Pacers' first game, right? Really, really go grand with takes that probably will not be too accurate, but it's fun to do because it's the first game. However, I will say this, I think of all the times we've done this, is the hardest one to do because they're not going to play another game like this. They're not just going to keep losing players and people over and over and over and over again throughout the course of a game, probably again this season. Like, to this extent, they might just start games with fewer guys, but having 3 players foul out and 1 leave with an in-game injury in one game, like, it's just not going to happen. It's really hard to kind of be like, let me have a big grand takeaway. The game flow was so weird.
Yeah, and right, because there's 10 extra minutes of basketball, there's all the stats are kind of slightly inflated, right? What was probably looking like a mid 20 points game for both Siakam and Matherin turned into a 30-point game. You had, Naismith ended up, because he fouled out like 5 minutes ago, missed 15 crucial minutes of the game all of a sudden instead of 5 crucial minutes. It gets a little bit wonky when you have the double overtime. You can overreact to like Shea. There's a bunch of headlines right now. Shea, it's 53 points, career high. It's like, yeah, but he also played. I think what did he finish with? He finished with 45 minutes. Of course, he scored 53 points. That man scores like 30 points per 30 minutes, roughly, give or take. So some of that screws it up.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Like a lot of guys, I think Matherin would have got to 30 in a regular. He did get to 30 in regulation, I believe. But like Siakam crossed it in the extra periods. Obi got to 20 with the extra periods. Like a lot of stuff that won't quite hold. So unfortunately, I usually like to, if they lose, I've said this during the preseason, like if they lose, I always feel like the way to start is with a bad thing, and I would overreact with a bad thing, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say that I said in the offseason, I wondered, is Siakam or Matherin going to lead this team in scoring? I'm overreacting. It's going to be Matherin, and by like multiple points. He was awesome. He got to the rim whenever he wanted. His two-man game with Siakam was special. Even without point guards, he could like lead stuff and move the ball very well. He was absolutely fantastic, and I think he's going to be in for a great scoring season.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a couple of factors, right? You have contract year. You have the fact they're going to need it, right? I think previously with Matherin, the issue was like he kind of was the odd man out in the sort of pace lineups, right? He kind of fit when you like, especially in the playoffs when they were like, we need someone who can like kind of get a bucket when either McConnell wasn't on the floor feeling it or Haliburton wasn't or Siakam. And it seems like this year he's going to get all the shots. I mean, he took 19. That's probably will end up being more like 16 or 17. But that's way more than what he's been taking. And I feel like his free throw, like his ability to get to the free throw line was really impressive, right? He wanted the contact, wanted to get fouled, wanted to go there. And that's usually a sign of a guy can like get 7 attempts a game. They're going to have a 20 plus point season. I think last year he was close to averaging 20, but I think I would be surprised if he isn't the leading scorer compared to Siakam, because I just think Siakam provides more on the defensive end and more kind of elsewhere that you could see him not taking the full offensive load if they can help it at least.
Yeah, he had to guard Shea, right? And then he did foul out on a possession guarding Shea. And he like, if you're going to give him that kind of workload where he's got that offensive, need with Nembhard gone and Nesmith gone, it was like it's him or Siakam and that's it. Like no one else can really get into the paint, and he has to guard Shea, and he fouled out guarding him. And I got a bunch of immediate posts that were like, why is he guarding Shea if he has 5 fouls? Everybody had 5 fouls. Everybody fouled out. Who else is it going to be? I guess Siakam could have done it, but like everyone on the floor either cannot guard Shea at all or had so many fouls. Jarris Walker was, I guess, the other guy you could have done there. He finished with 4. Like someone has to do it with a lot of fouls. It's a double overtime game with lots of fouls. So I think that was certainly part of this in a way that was challenging, because when he fouled out, he was the guy that it was over to me. Like when they had Matherin, Shepard, Walker, Siakam, Toppin, even losing Nesmith, Nembhard, they still could keep up, and they were keeping up. They were winning a lot of those periods. Once Matherin fouled out, it was over. They did not have enough people anymore. So he was special. His scoring was special. You're up. Give me an overreaction from game 1.
I think if Siakam cannot shoot below 50% from the free throw line, he has a very good chance at making one of the 3 All-NBA teams, if not one of the 2. I mean, tonight his stat line before overtime was looking somewhere at like 27 points, 10 rebounds, 2 or 3 assists, right? He probably needs to get, and that's going to be what he sort of averages, we'll say averaging somewhere in the low 20s with near double-double, and is the leader on this Pacer team that can maybe sneak in as a top 6 seed. That seems they'll put him close to being one of the 10 or 15 best players in the league. I mean, he clearly is in the top 25 as an all-star last year, but I do think like I kind of forgot that, oh, right, he's like just a really talented, really good player, and just like can just go out there consistently, just be he can kind of be your best player. I mean, we haven't really seen that. Like in Toronto, he was kind of like a struggling couple years after Kawhi left, but you kind of remember why he was the Pacers' big acquisition and why they made a deep run, because he played incredibly well last year. And so I think he's got a shot at being sort of in the All-NBA. I mean, he hasn't been All-NBA since his Toronto days. Like I think the second year post Kawhi, and that was it.
He's had a weird career where like his All-Star years weren't All-NBA, and then he had an All-NBA year that wasn't an All-Star. So like it's just like the surge of time that he was good in the season really impacted his voting. That I'm with the Pacers last year, where when they stunk, he was good. And then by the time they like surged up and had a good enough record to get an all-star, everybody's like, oh, Siakam has been their best player. But then down the stretch, it was very, very clear that it was Tyrese Haliburton. So Haliburton got the All-NBA spot, but Siakam got the all-star spot. They're both awesome. Who cares? This year, there's no Tyrese Haliburton. So he has to be their best player. And that was a big talking point of the offseason. I even talked with Sean Woodley of Locked On Raptors about that. Like there was one year, the bubble year, where Siakam was the best player. Kawhi had just left, but they still had Fred VanVleet. They still had Kyle Lowry. They still had lots of talent, and they were good. The Raptors were really good. They went to, I believe, 7 games in a tough series with the Celtics before losing in the second round, but like they were a really good team that year, and he was the best player on the team. Like he has been the best player on a good team before. Now, Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet was for 1 year. Like those are all-stars. The Pacers don't presently have a second all-star. Matherin was so spectacular and close to that level in this game, but like we've seen Siakam be able to carry and lead a team at that level. I don't think the Pacers are that level of team, but he can do it, and he certainly showed that tonight. He also was great on defense. He was the only disciplined defensive player who like didn't jump at ball fakes or mess up rotations and things of that nature. I think at 27 and 12 at the end of regulation, he was awesome. Only 1 turnover as well. Dotting tough shots over Lou Dort. He almost did the weirdest shot, though. When they were down 2 with 13 seconds left and he took a long 2 with 8 seconds left, I was like, what is happening? What is this shot? But he made it. So he has absolved himself from any sort of punishment for the goofiest choice of shot.
That's classic Siakam, right? Like the behind the back double step, like he pushes the left foot in to clear enough space to step back and kind of shoot that long arcing free throw line shot. I feel like I've watched that shot a million times, and it goes in enough. But you can almost always tell when it leaves his hand whether it's going to go in. Like immediately you can see, oh, he pushed it too hard. Oh, that's what's going in. And when he finds the right rhythm on that, I do think this Pacer team is not as nearly as bad as some of those really bad Raptor teams. I agree with you, it's not as good as that 2020 team. But like there is a level here where like the East is kind of in this weird flux here. Like there is a way where like he could be one of, the 5 to 7 best players in the East, which could be enough to carry a semi-talented roster a little further than you would think normally is, right? Normally, I don't think Siakam is like the kind of guy that gets you to like maybe even a first round playoff win. But the East is so bizarre this year. Like, I was watching the Knicks Cavs game the other day. I'm just like, oh, these are the 2 best teams in the East, and 2 teams the Pacers basically ran over. It felt like last year. So I don't know. It's an odd year in the NBA, and maybe he's kind of in the right place to sort of be a leader on an okay roster.
Siakam played so well that it stinks to say this, but like you made it as a part of your joking quip of his overreaction and all-star case. But if he makes 70% of his free throws in this game, they win in regulation, right? They just do. If Ben Matherin doesn't foul 6 times, they might win sooner, or he doesn't foul out, they win the game. Like, don't get me wrong. Fans should be like upset about some of the parts of this game with the fouls. The Pacers certainly were upset, but they did a good job keeping it in. But like some of those fouls are mistakes. Even Ben Matherin admitted that after the game. I'm not just making that up. So like even the best players could have been a little better. I'm not ignoring that completely, but they were both spectacular. Everybody, quick break to talk about 2 wonderful groups of people. First up is Robinhood. Your ambition has met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day, locking in every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood Strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Let's also very quickly talk about the lovely people over at DoorDash. The NBA season is here. It's heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching the highlights, keeping up with your fantasy team, or your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. They're the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the Bag Drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, like Shea did tonight, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff you actually want. It's not just food. You can get everything from snacks, drinks, headphones, whatever, right on DoorDash. Has you covered for your late-night highlights, last-minute watch parties, and even double OT fuel up. So next time someone goes for 50, use promo code NBA50 the next day for 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only, 50% off, up to $10 a day after a 50-point game with the promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 and older. Visit DoorDash.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. Feels weird that we both had a nice, positive overreaction after they lost the game. Adam, they have a crisis right now at center. I mean, that sounds a little harsh, but Isaiah Jackson, over 2, 1 rebound, 2 turnovers, 4 fouls. Tony Bradley
foul out.
had this quiet. Yes, he did not foul out. Good job, Isaiah Jackson. Tony Bradley was playing third center minutes because they needed 3 bigs because Isaiah Jackson had foul trouble. 2 points, 1 block, 3 fouls for Tony Bradley. And ironically, he was like, fine. Like, those stats are not impressive or anything to write home about, but I was like, yeah, he's like not messing up. He's doing things. Jay Huff was actually okay. He made half his shots. He made a 3. He had 3 rebounds. He had 2 nice blocks. They won his minutes, and they still only trusted him for 12 because he's still catching up to conditioning and learning how to play with this team. Who was their closing 5? Obi Toppin at center, as predicted all summer. Obi Toppin almost played 40 minutes today in a 58-minute game, right? Like there is no trust of the centers right now. And Isaiah Jackson, normally in this situation where you're recovering from an Achilles tear, you're 23, you've never been a starter before, you'd get grace as a recovering player, but he has to be graded as a starter. He's a starter. He's starting for the team. So, like, unfortunately, that's how it goes. He didn't play very well. Jay Huff did, but couldn't play a lot. And Tony Bradley's just, he just is a third big. Obi Toppin is far and away right now their best option at the 5. And that's not good because that really hurts their bench, especially in a game where you lose other players and their second unit at times involves Johnny Furphy for 60 seconds and Talon Peter. And like, these guys are playing well, but you don't want to rely on them for 30 plus minutes every night. So they have a big problem at center.
Yeah. I mean, my overreaction to the center spot was that Obi Toppin is going to be their starting center by the end of the year, or at least play starter level minutes. He doesn't start. I think they're clearly just trying to piecemeal the starting center minutes, right? Obi Toppin's going to probably play 30 minutes at this point, I would guess. I don't know if he can handle it. I don't know what he played last year. I kind of forget, but
Obi, by the way, 20 points. Yeah. If that dude made 1-3, they win the game. Like he could not make a thing today.
He's hot and cold from 3. That's kind of his we've seen some playoff games where he hits like 5 or 7. I don't know. I'm not going to overreact to the first game of him. Shooting so bad from 3, but it does seem like he is really going to be their de facto end of game center. He kind of was in the playoffs at times, right? I mean, there were definitely times in OKC series and in the Knicks series that he ended the game. And even that, I can think of at least 3 or 4 kind of big moments in that. With that first game of the Knicks series, he was the starting center in overtime of that game. I'm not as concerned with that because I think Toppin ultimately becomes their center. They want to keep him on the bench because he plays so well with McConnell. He plays he just plays really well off the bench initially. Kind of gives that burst to that kind of when the first kind of bench unit comes in. But I don't know. I actually think between Jay Huff probably ends up being maybe the starter at the end of the year because he seems like he's kind of going to be competent for 12 minutes, and that's all you kind of need to probably make it work. Maybe 15 competent minutes. I'm less concerned about it. Partially it's because they've got partially because Turner didn't really play that well for the Bucks first game, so I'm not super yay. I'm not super bummed out that we didn't sign him for that massive contract, but I just think this thing can be piecemealed eventually, and the best lineup for this team in the future is Toppin at the 5, Siakam at the 4, and a combination of 3 guards playing up top. Naismith and 2 guards. I would say Tyrese, obviously, but that's their best lineup, and so that's what they'll end up finishing games with.
I wonder if at some point they'll do what you said, and it's like start whoever they think should start. If you said Huff, so I'll just use his name for example, but start Huff, play him for 4 to 6 minutes, and then play Toppin almost the rest of the half, or as much as you can, because the big downside of starting him is then your bench becomes McConnell and a bunch of non-creators or finishers. You'd have to really stagger, and I'll give the Pacers credit; they did a good job staggering in the first half when they had Nembhard of getting Matherin and Siakam with all the bench guys when they could to keep enough ball handling on the floor. But if you start Toppin, all of a sudden you're really, really TJ do everything ball. And that's scary. They love the chemistry of those two together. So I don't know if they could ever get to starting him, but they might and probably will have to play him as they showed. Follow the actions. They showed today that they believe that is their best 5. And part of it was that Jackson just wasn't good enough. And I think he would tell you that.
Let's give him a little bit of grace for it. First came from Achilles injury a year ago. I don't think that's.
I agree. We should be giving him grace in a normal situation of his recovery, but he is the starter, right? Shouldn't he be graded on the scale of a starter? As mean as that is to say.
Yeah. I just honestly don't really know why he's only basically starting because there was no other options. Like he is the default center, he is the guy we wanted to be our starting center. Like
Sure.
I do think Huff in a scenario where like they aren't playing this incredibly fast pace and this different style than other teams may just is the starting center for the start because he has a little bit more experience at being center, right? But yeah, I think that's kind of the point of this year too, is to kind of figure out who the center is. Right, that was kind of the benefit of kind of having this year with Tyrese in there, where like you didn't feel the pressure to replace Turner the same way because you didn't have the same expectations. And well, who knows, right? I mean, I think when we go back to Jackson before the injury, he definitely seemed like he could be a rotational center. I'm not sure I ever thought he could be a starting center, but probably in the OB top end spot of could play 15, 20 minutes at really high, and a good enough level to play. And so if he can get to there, that's kind of all they're going to ask from at this starting role at the moment. I mean, there's just a lot of issues. Like their bench is going to be differently in flux because they're starting Matherin, McConnell isn't there. Like there's just a lot of like, at some point they'll kind of have to figure out how to stagger the guys correctly, right? Because they'll have to figure out who is the best offensive player to play when, and that's gonna affect the center. And can they play small more off the bench all the time because no team really has a good backup center anymore? Like there's all those kind of things in play.
All right, give me another overreaction from you.
Well, you took my center one. I think Ben Shepard is in for last year I would say he wasn't really a rotation player until the playoffs. Is that fair to say? Is that how you would grade it? Or
he was for a lot of the season, but he was certainly the last guy in. Like he would get a sprinkle of minutes here and there.
I think he's more going to rise up to being like maybe the first or second guy off the bench at this point. I mean, he was the first guy off the bench at this game, I think. First guard, at least, off the bench. I mean, he obviously ended up starting the second half because of Nemhart, but I think Shepard, right, so this is his third season, right? The third or fourth season. Third. Right? So he had a really interesting freshman season, kind of recall, where like he had this really nice playoff run with the team. In the conference finals, he played really well in the playoffs, kind of 3-and-D guy. Had a little bit of sophomore slump. That tends to happen in the NBA. You look across the league, a lot of guys that kind of have initial bursts and then slump a little because whatever reason. I think he's due for sort of a whatever you want to call this, a junior year bump up, and I think he's gonna have a pretty good season. I mean, he was 5-11 tonight for 15 points. I just think he looks like he can play the speed of the game and he can make enough threes. He can stay on the court.
Everybody, one more break to talk about two great groups of people. First up is Rugy at Let's Be Real. Making excuses doesn't solve a thing. We've all heard him before. It's just stress. I'm tired. It happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rugy comes in. They offer fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugy makes it easy to get started. You just connect the board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, it's simple, it's private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA. Do not forget our code, LockedOnNBA, so they know we sent you. Rugy, stop making excuses, start making moves. And we're also, of course, going to talk about FanDuel. The NFL season is here. Thursday Night Football back. Colts are balling, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss right now. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet. Put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So many people love FanDuel for different reasons. Following live lines during games, player props, building parlays makes football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today, and you too can get started. He took some twos today that I was like, oh, whoa. Like he never.
The once that when he tried to step back on I forget.
And he never would do that. Yeah. Like he was basically just a catch and shoot guy who like most of his twos before were like, oh crap, the shot clock's at 3. Like I have to take it. Right. And like, okay, he made some of them. He had real pop today. And okay, by the way, you got something wrong, Adam. Let the record show the first guard off the bench was Talon Peter, the two-way backup point guard.
You're right. I forgot he came in first, but
he came in the top end.
Shepard played 39 minutes, so he was really the first guard off the main guard after all that.
Look, yes, man,
you're right. No,
They're going to need Talon Peter every game now. He's a player, man. I don't know how awesome or consistent you should expect a two-way player to be who played at Liberty last year, but this is something at least. This guy can guard a little bit, made a corner three. Shepard looked really solid in that he looked like he could do more than just run on the perimeter, make threes, and be that chicken with his head cut off kind of guy. He had 4 assists. Believe it or not, Adam, 4 assists is a team high number for the Pacers in this game.
Yeah, I mean, that was. I'll do my third overreaction at the end, but I have a fourth, whatever. But yeah, I mean, what I will say about Shepard, right? Yes, he had a little more in his bag. It felt like there's a little something else to it, and I don't know if it's a combination of they're going to need him to be a little more, so letting him do more. But even when he kind of came in. To start for Nembhard in the second half, he handled the ball in a way that I was like, oh, I'm not that worried about him being the ball handler. The Pacers played this style where 5 guys go, right? Mathurin brought up half the time, Siakam brought up other times, right? So there's some of that. But I was mildly impressed that he looked like a guy who went from being sort of, I would say, borderline rotation to this guy's probably going to be solidly in the rotation. Even when McCarron comes back, he seems like he's going to be sort of the backup, I guess what you want to call shooting guard at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll play a good amount this year. Rick Carlisle loved him before. If he had any pop this year, he's going to get those times. He lost his rotation spot last year because he just stopped making anything down the stretch.
He went cold, so cold,
right? They were playing him when he got healthy in December, January, February. They were playing him, but he just couldn't make a thing post All-Star break. And they finally played more Jarris.
But then he caught fire in the playoffs. He was quite good
every year.
Run, so
every year he makes 3 out of every 8 threes in the playoffs and looks like a guy.
That's Nembhard too, right? Nembhard all of a sudden catch and shoot playoff 3 stat is insane compared to his regular season stat.
Okay, I kind of want to make a point guard overreaction because it's a big story of the game, so we need to talk about it anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, their team leader in assists had 4. That was also several guys. Siakam had 4 assists. Nembhard had 4 assists. Shepard had 4 assists. Walker had 4 assists. Peter had some nice passes. Toppin had 3 dimes. They were moving it okay. Only 21 is not high for them. That's going to be lower than without Haliburton. Duh. I'm not an idiot. But they lost Andrew Nembhard in this game. He was getting to his spots. The shots did not go in at all when he got there. And then Shea got his arm caught and his shoulder got really messed up. He didn't return after halftime. We'll find out more on Friday or Saturday about his official status. Regardless, I have 2 kind of thoughts on this. So their point guard rotation after that, they just said, screw it. Nobody, right? Ray J. Dennis did not play at all. He was an only healthy point guard by the end of the game. It was always a combo of quasi creators, right? In terms of wing initiation from Walker or Matherin or Siakam or even Shepard at times in this game, where Talon Peter kind of handling a few times. So I'll say this. It actually looked decent to me in a way that I thought, okay, I think that they can have a successful offense with their point guards hurt for at least till mid-November, right? With McConnell down and Cam Jones down, and we'll see when Quentin Jackson can come back. I think what's going to happen in this stretch, depending on how long Nembhard's out, is most of the time they're going to look fine, but their bad stretches are going to look absolutely terrible. That is my overreaction to what happened at point guard in this game.
Yeah, I mean, they had a really nice third quarter stretch there.
Yes.
When Nembhard didn't come out of the locker room, I was like, a close game, probably get out of hand third quarter. And they hung in there. I mean, they did kind of what they kind of became known for last year. It's just the never said die Pacers, basically, who just kind of hang around, right? So, but you could definitely tell the ball was sticking a second or 2 more than it normally does. You could just there were a couple Siakam tried to make one of those deep court Haliburton passes that you almost call that when he missed Obi Toppin to the right of him. Things were just a little bit stickier than normal. I think that's to be expected. I mean, Haliburton is arguably one of the top 3 passers in the league, right? He consistently is near the top of assists. He has got that's what makes him so elite. I don't know how they're going to, I think Nembhard injury is going to be interesting. I mean, he was sitting on the bench at the end of the game, so I don't know if it's a sign that maybe he was not he just didn't want to risk it, right? And I understand that the first game of the season, there's no need to throw someone who's a little bit hurt back out there. It is a long season, but I'm probably a little more concerned than you are about what's going to happen, because at some point, if they're not playing the kind of the pace they're used to, does that sort of screw other things up, right? Because that pace is what allows like Naismith to get these kind of like weird open threes in space at times, and Toppin kind of needs that kind of pace and that consistency to kind of like really get going in the flow, and just like kind of like sort of like clog up everything else. And so, and maybe the answer is McConnell comes back, and that kind of helps a little bit because he does play at the pace that Haliburton plays at, right? He really focuses on that in a way that he can kind of play at his pace at a semi level. So maybe that solves it, but it was a little bit like a little bit jarring to watch, just because like obviously 4 months ago this team was playing at such an elite pace and it was working so well that it's kind of sucks to see it not be that way.
Yeah, so one thing I have to mention either way, win or lose, was like they created shots that guys can make without point guard on the floor. However, even the biggest blue and gold colored glasses Pacers fan has to be like, dang, they made a lot of tough shots in the fourth quarter of this game. Like fading, turnaround jumpers, tough contested threes. Shots the players who took and made those shots can make, but like should not be expected to make with any sort of reasonable consistency. And they made probably like 5 in a row of those. So that's what I mean by like, I think for a good chunk of their point guardless time, especially if Nembhard's going to miss time. We don't actually know that, but shoulder is never a good thing. I think it will 80% of the time be better than you think right now, but the 20% it's not that is going to just be like, oh dear God, like they cannot get a good shot in this stretch. And that's what was happening is they weren't getting great shots, but they just still were making whatever they got on those plays. So it's going to be incumbent on those big wing initiators to get it done. Okay, you had one more, you said. Give me one more overreaction.
This is kind of a cop-out overreaction, but I think it's worth remembering that OKC is the defending champion. They are the overwhelming favorite to repeat. That people think they're going to win 65 games. Taking them to double overtime and like looking like, could go toe-to-toe with them, like especially in that third and fourth quarter stretch where like was basically reminding a little bit of the NBA Finals, right? Of like just tough shots from both teams, hard defense. I know the Pacers defense ended up not giving up 141 points, but like there were stretches where the defense looked like it was sort of at a high intensity the way it used to, it did in the playoffs last year. And so like, I don't know if you call it overreaction or whatever you want to call it, but like, I do think like this game and the way they played and how well they played, if they, they should have an easier chance against, or a better chance against some of the easier teams, right? I'm not as like, I was really worried that it was going to be like, there is some lingering from these finals, like run of like, here's the elite level you have to play to be able to compete at that level. And that might just help them get through a stretch of like really easy teams that just like, you don't have to go up against, SGA every game, right? Like there are 29 other teams, and yes, some of them have very elite players, but like 15 of them don't have a player even, 80% of SGA, right? And so like that might just make things a little bit easier to do, right? The Pacers just like, they have that, they have they know what it takes to be an elite team. And so at least they might be able to play it like a fake version of that without Haliburton for a little bit at times.
Yeah, if you think of OKC's playoff rotation, let me be clear before you guys get done. I'm going to get to the Pacers injuries too. So like, yeah, they were without Caruso, Kaysen, and J-Dub. Yes, those are good players. The Pacers were without also several very good players from their playoff rotation last year and lost more of them during the game, right? Like Shea played, Dort played. A lot of those guys played. And then AJ Mitchell is just like a beast who barely played last year and is going to play a lot this year. Like that's a good team. They just played bad and beat Houston like on opening night in another crazy double overtime game. That's a good team. And they almost beat them and had lots of little things that they could have done to actually beat them. It is so hard to say because it's the only game of sample you have. Everybody's so excited and they walk away disappointed. But like, it was a good performance. It's just so hard to hear that. And the players and coaches don't want to hear that because they lost a tough fought game that they thought they could win many times. They actually lost, but like they did play well, especially well given the circumstances. They do deserve credit for that, but a little, dinging with faint praise when you don't actually get the win.
Yeah. I mean, how often are they going to, the team going to shoot 51 free throws against them? I mean, like what other? Like Giannis is the other guy who controls kind of fouls. I guess maybe Jokic. No, he's not really like a free throw merchant. I mean, like how many?
Do you remember the game Giannis took 32 free throws against the Pacers?
No, not even a little bit. To be honest,
it did happen.
How many years ago?
2023 or 4. I can't remember. 2 seasons ago, but less time than that.
He's the only guy who can draw these kind of fouls, and Bishop are pretty good at playing against them.
I guess we have to talk about officiating because fans want to hear opinions about it. Like,
yeah, we can for a few minutes.
So look, two things. The Pacers took 40 free throws. The Thunder took 51. I think the foul count actually ended up with 4 more for the Pacers. It wasn't like that lopsided in that way. And I don't even know that I necessarily think the officiating was bad. Like Matherin was getting inside and drawing a lot of fouls. He took 17 foul shots. What makes Shea so frustrating for me specifically, I'm not even like complaining about officiating. He just draws the fouls that I personally hate the most. The like off-arm shove play that Tatum mastered. Tatum is the king of this play. And to be clear, again, this is not a Shea thing either. Obi Toppin does this, and I hate that Obi Toppin does it. It's like the least basketball pure thing about his game. But you dribbling with one hand, you use your off arm to clear space. If a defender did that, it'd be a foul immediately. And the other thing Shea's mastered is when you're running right alongside your defender play, and you just kind of lean into him. It's like he's just running in a straight line. And then the refs explained last year, and I think in one of their like explanation videos, why that's a foul. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I get that by the rules you have, that's a foul, but your rules suck. That sucks. That shouldn't be a foul. It's just two dudes running next to each other. And with Shea specifically, it's not even necessarily, I don't think he earns them within the rules. Like there is some of them are like, okay, that's annoying. But to me, it's just that he specifically gets his free throws on my least favorite types of plays. But he is still awesome. He's an amazing player. He cooked the Rockets in overtimes as well. It's just when a guy makes 23 free throws and there's 91 in total, it's just like, this isn't fun. This is less fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has no fear going into contact because he gets the foul call every time he tries to initiate the contact. And that is one of the toughest things to watch is like, if like you're just like, I mean, Naismith gets called for this all the time. He's just kind of standing there and he runs into you and you fall back. He gets the shooter gets the foul call, right? And that's just like, at some point, you have to decide, like, if you're going to embrace the contact, like, you're going into it, I don't know why that should be a foul every time. I don't know how you officiate it. Like, I'm fine with him. Like, he likes to bounce off dudes, and he still makes the shot most of the time. But, like, when he bounces off guys, maybe he shouldn't get the foul call on the bounce because he just is basically using his leverage getting stuff to the rim. Because he's very good at that. I mean, he is, if guys didn't contact him, he basically go to the rim every time and score every time. I mean, he's that athletic, quick, and, adept around the rim, right? I mean, he's incredible. So, he just like it seems like at times that he just like he uses the contact and he forces players to embrace the contact to get the foul versus like just beating a guy and then guy hitting him because he can't stop him, right? Like he doesn't. It's not the same as like Harden. Like Harden was miserable to used to watch because he was just like he would go in and throw his hands up, right, and it'd be like you're not even trying to shoot. Like
Shea hook you first too.
Yeah, we're like Shea is trying to shoot, right? He's going in there and he's trying to figure out how to twist his arms left and flick off. Like he had one of those shots where he like bounced off a dude, threw the ball off his head and almost went in. It was like I'm like, oh, if he makes that, like it's like he's very good at that. Like he just has great around the rim skills, but it is not fun to watch. I mean, it's very much like kind of pre-Warriors basketball style, right? Where you just kind of like LeBron was a little bit this way, right? You just like head down, go to the rim, and just trust that you'll get the foul or your score, right? Because you're that good at it.
And what makes it work for Shea in a way it doesn't work for anybody else, and this is a compliment, he is so good with his balance and ability to slow down. Nobody can slow down as fast as him. And so he gets you off balance and can just shoot right away, and you're trying to recover to slow down as fast as him, but that requires you changing directions, and he's not. He's just stopped already. So he's got space by default, and he's like shifty with his body because he's so good on balance. So like the play that everybody hates is like he'll just dead stop and kind of be leaned forward still, and he'll like pretend he's going to shoot. And because he stopped and he's so good at slowing down, you think the shot's coming, so you jump at him. And so there was that one play where he did that and leaned in, and he just ran into Ben Matherin, and Matherin's not even moving anymore. Matherin stopped, and then he took a contested shot and he missed it. And it's like, that's how you're supposed to defend it, but it's hard because he's so good at making that shot. He made 13 twos in this game. If you don't jump, sometimes he just scores right in your face. So he is legitimately awesome. Like he is a legitimately awesome player. He's earning a lot of these fouls, but it's not fun to watch a game with 91 free throws. This game took over 3 hours. It was almost 3.5 hours. Like it's crazy. And I get that overtimes obviously impact that, but I know fans are very frustrated by that. We had to talk about it. Do you have anything else reaction wise from this game?
No, I thought the Pacers coaching was pretty good, and it reminded me that they do have a pretty good coaching staff. Like they just were throwing bodies at him. The players are still like they were still running kind of the same offense and the same defense, and it's always good to remember that like when you have a good coach that sometimes that does make the team just like a floor, but considering how many years we've had of not this kind of level
being
of coaching.
Being able to create good lineups with the players available today is like, how are you even creating a system that works? Rick told us after the game that the actions they built with Ben Matherin and Pascal Siakam, they made up today, like because of the situation they were in. And those two were just screening for each other over and over down the stretch. And it's like half the Pacers offense. At a lot of points in this game, they had.
And that's going to be part of the season, right? Is them figuring that out. Like that's going to be part of like the learning curve this year. Is those two guys figure out how to play with each other. They haven't really played like this many minutes together.
For a lot of the game, they had half the Pacers points. They ended with 68 out of 135. Is that half? That is half, right? That's one over half. So like that, they were awesome together. Like credit the coaching staff for finding the possible lineups that worked with what they had available. Like Taylor Peter as a backup point guard is a crazy pull. It kind of worked. Tony Bradley kind of worked. That two-man game kind of worked. They just ran out of guys. Like we can overreact all we want. They ran out of people who were good enough to beat the Thunder and the Thunder's available players. 0-1, no fun. Down to Memphis they go. I will be there. Adam, your original name on this was Tired. I will let you go now after I changed it to Committed a Foul for you after a 91 free throw game. Where can people find you? Oh, go ahead.
You're on Eastern time. I'm on Pacific time right now. I'm on vacation a little bit. So actually, I don't know why. You should be more tired than me, but I think you're excited for the season. I can tell you're like.
Well, I usually stay up about this late anyway, but I'm probably going to be more tired tonight because I woke up at 8 to a million Twitter notifications about an FBI probe in the NBA and a bunch of people getting arrested, and I was just like, well, I'm going to wake up and read every single thing about this forever now. So eventually, it's going to hit me. This was very fun, Adam. Do you want to shout out where people can find you, or is your internet presence so non-sportsy anymore that you don't even care?
I'm not even really on social media that much anymore, to be honest. I check in on certain things, Pacers-wise, stuff like that, but I'm not really like pretty active anymore, so it's fine. I don't need to follow.
Congratulations. I wish I could be off social media.
Yeah, you can't. Well, the NBA is kind of happy. That's where you get most of the NBA news is some combination of Reddit.
True, I did find out about said FBI probe, not even probe, FBI arrests via the lovely Bird app this morning.
I will say people do on Pacers Twitter or Pacers Reddit, people do praise you many times, Tony. You mentioned Tony said this about this thing. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Pacers Reddit.
Yeah, you get to mention in the comments a decent amount, I feel like. Every so often I see it.
I've popped in a few times. And now it actually gets like suggested on my Reddit homepage. So
yeah, but that's I go on Pacers Reddit a lot. Like I spent half the game on it too.
Oh, I need to check in during one of those live game threads. I've never actually done so, but it's a good idea to have like, hey, comment on what's happening here. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's nice. People talk about all kinds of stuff. It's good.
The next podcast here will be after the Grizzlies game on Saturday, the first of a back-to-back for the Pacers with Minnesota the very next night. So nothing tomorrow unless we get like insane news about injured him, hard shoulder or something on Friday. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to our yearly opening night overreactions. We'll see you very soon.